In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the distributive property. And the ultimate goal by the end of the video is for you to not only be able to solve this problem, but to also be able to make sense of what it is that you're being asked. So before we get there, I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we're going to start from kind of the beginning to develop the concept. And so let's say we have this 5 times 4. And so what I always do is rather than saying 5 times 4, let's think of it as 5 groups of 4, where the 5 tells us the number of groups, and then the 4 represents the amount in each group. And so what we can do is we can go ahead and we can represent using a bar diagram. And then what we're going to do is we're going to split this into 5 equal groups. And then in each group, we'll see that, well, I have the same amount, which is 4. And now the whole bar would actually equal 20, which we all know just by memorizing that 5 times 4 is 20. But now we can begin to make sense that when we have this problem, that we have the number of groups, and then we have the amount in each group. And so, for example, let's say that 5 friends went to the movies and each spent $4. And so together, all 5 friends spent $20. So now let's go ahead and take this a little bit further. So let's say that we still have our 5 groups, but now the amount in the group, we're gonna change it up a little bit, where we know that they're gonna end up each spending $4 in each group. But now let's say that they end up spending $3 for a ticket, and then they buy a candy bar for $1. So each of them buys their ticket for $3, and then each of them buys a candy bar for $1. And so now what we can do is we can represent for one person that, well, this person spent $3 for the ticket, and then they spent $1. And so altogether, this person still spent $4. But now we can look and see, well, if each person spent this same amount, well, now we would need a total of 5 groups. And in each group is going to be the same thing. And so what we can do is we can go ahead and just use the bar diagram to visually see that now each person, so this second person, will spend $3 on the ticket and $1 on candy bar. There's a $3 ticket and a $1 candy bar, $3 ticket, $1 candy bar, and $3 ticket and a $1 candy bar. And so now what we can see by using the distributive property is that now we can ask, now not only did everybody spend $4 each, but now we can actually look to see that, well, how much did they spend together on their tickets? And so what we can do is we can see that we would have 5 groups. So there's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. They have 5 groups of $3, which represents the amount of money they spent on the tickets. And then we also can look to see, well, how much did they spend on the candy bars? And we see that 5 of them each spent $1, so that would be 5 groups of 1. And so just by multiplying, or we can add up, so we can see that 5 groups of 3 is 15. And we're going to add our 5 group of 1, which is 5. And then we still get our same answer, $20 total. But now we can see that, well, 15 was spent on the tickets and 5 was spent on the candy bars. Now let's take a look at is if we had this. So let's say we still have our 5 friends and they're going to go to the movie theater, but now before they go they don't know how much the ticket is. But they do know that now a candy bar is $4. And so by using the same concept as we use for to solve this problem, now where this is still just an unknown number. And so we could still treat it as if we knew what that number was. And so we can now represent, well, now we have 5 friends, and they're each going to buy the same thing. And so now we know that this person is going to spend that amount of money for the ticket, and they're going to buy a $4 candy bar. This person's going to buy the same ticket and a $4 candy bar. Here is that person's ticket and a $4 candy bar. Here's a ticket, $4 candy bar, and a ticket and a $4 candy bar. And so now what we can see is by looking at the groups that we're going to have 5 of the friends are going to buy the ticket, and then we also see that 5 of the friends are going to buy a $4 candy bar. And so looking at 5 groups of T, we can't simplify that any further until we know the actual value of T. And so since we don't know what it is, we can just leave it as 5 groups of T plus, now we can go ahead and simplify 5 groups of 4, which is 20. And so with this, what we could do is now, let's say if the tickets were $5 each. Well, if T equaled 5, now we could go ahead and substitute this value in for T. Or, let's say the tickets cost $7 or $8. What we already have is we have it simplified so that we can go ahead and substitute whatever the value of that ticket is to find the total cost.